Hello, welcome to another edition of Chris Speaks. I'm your host, Chris Thompson, and I'm mad as hell, and I won't take it anymore. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about here is I'm calling this episode Unpacking Israeli Propaganda, because there's I saw it on, whatchamacallit, on YouTube. It's called, the channel's called Unpacked, and it's connected to a website called unpackingjewish.com, and it's basically there is pro-Israel, pro-Zionist propaganda, but to make you feel like they're not racist, like Israel's not racist, they put an Arab guy on there who speaks like English, like American English, because he's probably an American, to make kids feel more comfortable of them. Yes, kids. This stuff is used in education to educate people about the Israeli Palestinian conflict and other things that have to do with Israel. And these guys are dangerous. This is a dangerous propaganda. Okay, because you see stuff on there all the time where it's just like anybody who knows like anything about facts could just like debunk in a second. These guys, they have it down to a science. They take facts, and I mean, there are a few things I disagreed that I think weren't correct, but it's not so much that it's not correct, it's that it's what they omit, what they leave out. In this video, he's sitting there, and he's like, well, he's standing there, and he's telling you about history of Palestine and Israel, and like what basically about what's going on with the Gaza Strip. And he omits things, and the guy starts at 1967, and this is already, he doesn't want to start before that because he'd have to go back to the Balfour Declaration. This was when there were not many Jews in Palestine, and if they were Palestinian, and if they weren't, some were from Europe. But it was the Balfour Declaration that invited the Jews to divide. It said, hey, come here. It basically was telling them, come here, and we're going to establish a homeland for the Jews in Palestine. And he didn't want to do that one. Yeah, and he does this thing when he talks about Palestine. What do they call it? Freeing Palestine? It's like, yeah, freeing them from the people that have been their overlords since they fucking arrived there. Treated them like hell. So he doesn't go there because he doesn't want to admit that that the majority of the Jews aren't from there, and if they are, they're not. And the other ones aren't from there anyways. They're from other Arab countries that, he doesn't want to get into stuff like that. How about, no, I won't get into that. Let's stick with what I'm talking about, because, I don't know. I don't want to talk about what I don't know or don't have time to get into. So basically, it's whitewashed history to make it look like Israel's mostly in the right. And one thing he leaves out, most importantly, is that there was a time where there were no Jewish communities in Palestine, because if there were Jews there, they were in the same communities with everyone else, and they didn't harm people. It's when the Zionists came over with the Zionist ideology, and it started with the Balfour Declaration, because Balfour, he was this like guy like in the British government, I think, and he was a Christian Zionist, and a lot of people don't realize that Zionism was started by Christians, not Jewish people. So, because they wanted to get rid of them, basically. So, okay, so he goes and do a lot of things, and it's just like, he'll say things that just aren't 100% true, but they're enough to convince people. And it's just like, the whole narrative is the Jews are the victims, and the big bad Arabs have been messing with them for absolutely no reason. And it's like, they've totally screwed over the Palestinians. They've totally gone to war many times with some of the things. You know how they blockade so there's been a blockade on Gaza, but nobody, and that's just fine. But when the Egypt tried to do a blockade on its own property, own area against Israel, then Israel went to war against them. So there's always this double standard, and they got this guy, and he's smooth talking, and he really like people could relate to him, but they don't know that there's half-assed stories. I mean, he talks about Gaza was patrolled by Israeli troops all the time, and that it was under Israeli control, and they leave out how badly they treated the Palestinians. And he does go to this part about where the Israelis went into Gaza, and they created these settlements, much like the violent settlements in the West Bank. The same thing. They're like, oh, they set up a settlement in front of the beach in Palestine, and they got mad. He makes it act like they got mad for no reason. He leaves out. I need to get this light off of me. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's a little bit better. It's still a bit bright. Okay, that's better. So he doesn't mention that they bulldozed over Palestinian homes that were there on the beach, that were nice, that were on the coast. And he acts like it was for no reason. No, they got pissed off at you because you've done what you've been doing in the West Bank, continuing to do, no matter how many times you're told it's illegal. So they go and they take over their fucking land and have the beach, but they don't tell you that they harassed the Palestinian neighbors. He always called them, like, why didn't they? They're neighbors. Dude, the Israelis were never neighbors to Palestinians. You don't take over other people's land and call them neighbors. You don't freaking go blow them up every once in a while to mow the grass, as the Israelis say. That's not me, that's them. Mowing the grass. I said this many times before. They don't even see them they don't see them as humans, but they don't even see them as animals. It's mowing the grass just to get the nuisance down, just to keep the population controllable. So this is the thing I mainly want to talk about, is that this is dangerous, because this is telling half-truths and omitting all the facts that make Israel look bad. And they're done well, professional, and they're done well enough to be convincing, and that's what propaganda always has been. That's what was the guy? I forgot the guy under Hitler, the guy who was the propaganda guy in propaganda. I think they invented propaganda wing of the Nazi party. So this is similar to that. It's like doing videos by experts who use psychology and know how to make people feel a certain way in order to basically brainwash people. And it says that they do things provide stuff for schools. It's like, first of all, when I was going to school, they never even talked about, I don't even remember them talking about Israel-Palestine thing. But now, I guess they're doing it, but they're I bet you it's right-wing states that are doing this, where they have this propaganda to make because they want to make sure that there's enough of the new generations going out there that will believe their lies and won't even go and research it. And if they do, they don't research enough, or they consider this, the people who watch this, they'll consider that research, even though it's just propaganda. It's half-truths, it's omitting things, and this is the whole thing. This is our biggest problem. Okay, we can go out there and you can go out there, because I'm just sitting here talking about shit. I'm not doing the damn thing. But you can go out there and you can protest, but it's not going to do any good if nobody gets the message, or nobody even thinks the message is the truth, because there's been so much propaganda and so much brainwashing to make it think that Israel's the best place in the world, and they're just victims and they never did anything wrong, and that's not true. And I'm not saying that in this war since the beginning that the Palestinians haven't done bad shit. Of course, both sides have, but who started it? Who's the one who went and took over land that didn't belong to them, and basically said that, like, it's like what we did with the Indians. We basically decided that they didn't deserve the land because they didn't have some official thing with bureaucracies and shit. And it's like, it's crazy. It's just crazy that so many people think that the Palestinians are just bad and just go killing Israelis for no goddamn reason. And nobody should be killing anybody. I mean, especially, I hate it when they go after, yeah, well, whatever. I kind of lost my train of thought there. Let's see. Kind of want to skip it. I don't want to do a long thing, so I'm going to try to skip forward. Okay, well, there was something. Well, basically, it's a short, very short history, or early back enough to where basically it starts in the 67 and it goes all the way to October 7th, because that's what they're going to bring up every time. And okay, it was a bad thing, but you've been doing, like, the Israelis have been doing worse for so many years before. Like, I mean, the thing is, the first thing they did when they got there was they bought out land. They bought out land from landowners who were absent, which means they were in other countries, and then they bought the land off of them. But what they did was they bought land that people were living on, okay, and evicted all of them. And that was the beginning. So they kept doing that. That's pretty much how Israel got all the territory it's got. I mean, they even took the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt at one point. But then they wonder why the bad neighbors won't do. But, well, no, you're not their neighbor. You're their oppressor. Oh, where was I going? Okay. Oh, so it goes to October. So it's basically a propaganda thing just to show. And then October 7th, they did this and blah, blah, blah. And they don't mention all the massacres and all the things they done. They mention rockets being lobbed into Israel. And what they don't tell you is that they almost never hurt anyone. And if they do, they don't kill anybody. And that they don't tell you that they'll shoot them into fields that hurt nobody, and then Israel will go and kill 100 or 1,000 or whatever people. And they've been doing this over and over and over again. And to act like it started on October 7th, no. Is Hamas bad? Yes, but so is Israel. And Israel's more in the wrong because they are occupiers. And it's sad because the people that are occupying, all they want is East Jerusalem. They want East Jerusalem, they want the Gaza Strip, and they want the West Bank. And that's all they want. They don't want the whole land, all of it. They're willing to just take those things. But Israel will not give it to them. And there's a part where they were talking about back in the 90s, the Clinton days, where, Israel offered a two-state solution to Palestine. What they don't tell you is it completely screwed them over. And he's like, well, this was the most, generous offer that they had. Yeah, and that's the problem, because it was the best offer and it was horrible. And they'll be like, they could have gotten it then. They could have gotten it here. We got it here. You know what I remember? I remember that they're basically, I don't know. What was I on? Okay. I get kind of sidetracked because I'm not really running off of notes and anything. So let's get to this. So it's part of Open Door Media, and it's basically a nonprofit, and they educate people, including in schools, about the Israel-Palestine thing, where it's just the evil, bad Arabs against the poor Jewish people in Israel. So the Israelis. So I don't know. It's just the whole thing just seems like they're the victims. Israel's the victims, and they never did anything wrong. But they've always been the aggressors. So this is basically Open Door Media, it's set up to do these professional documentaries, and they're meant in education. And when I mean education, like the kind of education where they give you a bunch of stuff, imagery, and make you think something's true when it's not. So this is the whole thing. This is why these people are kind of scary as far as the propaganda, because they're not idiots. And that's what I see in a lot of these things, like the traveling Israeli, total moron. And this other guy, and like they'll have people come in there that just completely fabricate things. And this is, they don't do it here. They don't completely fabricate it, but they fabricate the message, and they fabricate the message by basically leaving out the stuff that makes Israel look bad. And it make them look bad because they've been basically oppressing the Palestinian people for like 80 plus years. And I mean, they were oppressing them a long time before Israel was officially recognized as a state, and they took over like the majority of the land, when they were only offered more than half, which the Palestinians didn't like, and Israel took that that they forfeited. And if they don't want the deal, then they're going to take their land anyways. And that's the Nakba, and that's what happened. And okay, so I think I'm done. I know I kind of went all over the place and scrambled here and there, but it's kind of hard when I don't have notes and stuff. But I just know that people like it when I do this instead of the notes so much. So, okay, so this has been another episode of Chris Speaks. I'm your host, Chris Thompson. I'm angry as hell, and I'm not going to take it. Oh, mad as hell. I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. Okay, so be sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure you share this with people you know that might like this or might need to know about this stuff. And so, okay, let me think. You guys should check out my video. I forgot what it is, the name exactly is, but it's about how the United Nations declared Israel occupying force, illegally occupying force, and told them that they need to give back the land they need to give total control of East Jerusalem, the West Bank, and Gaza to the Palestinian people, and that they deserve self-determination, which has been denied to them for so many years under so many occupiers. So, I mean, so you gotta check that out. And so I'm just here, and I'm trying to bring some facts to the thing, because there's so much propaganda and there's so many lies, and our government is lying to us, and the media is lying to us, and our country is selling bombs. They're not selling them, they're giving them away. They're basically giving a ton of weapons, a ton of aid, mostly weapons and money to buy more weapons from other countries so they can basically subjugate the Palestinian people. So check out some of my other videos, hit the subscribe button, and it's just, stuff kind of sucks, but that's how life is. So just hang in there, man.